Low-tech versus high-tech. Which one is better for you? First off, the only real difference between the two is that one utilizes pressurized CO2 and the other one does not. That's it. But there is more than just the addition of CO2. There are several other factors to consider. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the pros and cons of both low-tech and high-tech tanks so you can make an informed decision on your aquarium setup. The pros of high-tech tanks are very similar to the pros of CO2 injection. You get faster plant growth, healthier plants overall, and more vibrant plant coloration. With the introduction of CO2, you also unlock a wider catalog of plants to use. For example, Aquarium salzmani is a plant that needs highlighting and CO2 injection in order to show off a purple hue. And HC Cuba is a carpeting plant that can only grow in high-tech environments. For low-tech tanks, everything is a lot less expensive, which means it's completely okay if you make a mistake and is ideal for beginners. You can further take advantage of plants that do not grow as fast, thus leading to less maintenance and monitoring. There are low-tech systems that do not need any maintenance for weeks. You also don't have to deal with any of the hassles of maintaining your CO2 system. Plus, you can be diligent with your lighting system, which can also lower your electricity consumption. While there are many benefits to both high-tech and low-tech tanks, there are also some drawbacks to consider. High-tech tanks are generally more expensive. A good CO2 system can easily run an additional $200 plus, and that does not include maintenance. However, there are cheaper DIY solutions, but they are less reliable and are prone to leaks and fluctuations. The addition of CO2 will also introduce a pH drop depending on the amount of CO2 injected. On the plant side, faster growth equals a greater need for trimming maintenance. My high-tech tank needs trimming almost every week, depending on the plant species I'm growing. With a wider plant catalog to choose from, you will need to know the ins and outs of the plants you're using. Tropica has a massive library for this type of information. CO2 is also another variable that you will have to make sure that you get right. If you inject too much, you get algae. If you don't inject too much, you also get algae and unhealthy plant growth. This is the reason why high-tech tanks are more suited for intermediate and expert level aquarists. Low-tech tanks are also not perfect. For starters, there's a limiting factor when it comes to plant nutrition, that being CO2. Plants need carbon in order to grow better, and CO2 is the most accessible one for them. Due to the low presence of CO2, you may eventually come across CO2 deficiencies. However, this issue will depend on the plant species you choose. Various low-tech plants such as Anubias and Java fern do not need CO2, but will benefit from its addition. Furthermore, without the introduction of CO2, you have a small category of low-tech plants that you can choose from, and some of those plants won't be as vibrant in coloration compared to high-tech tanks with CO2. Both sides have their own pros and cons, so which one should you go with? Take a look at yourself and judge your expertise, how diligent you are with maintenance, and your budget. Are you able to uphold weekly 50% water changes and trimming sessions? Do you want healthy, beautiful plant growth? Are the plants that you want a little harder to grow? You will need to answer these types of questions and look back at which pros and cons you agree with for each side. In my opinion, try both styles. This way you can experience both sides and further drive your knowledge and expertise. With that information, let me know in the comments which one do you prefer, high-tech or low-tech. If you do decide to go high-tech and add CO2, you will need to know how to balance it to prevent algae, which is exactly what this video goes over.